Welcome to The Explainer. You know that feeling, right? You're stuck in some kind of conflict, and it feels like you only have two choices: fight back or just give in. But what if there's another way? Today, we're going to break down a framework that doesn't just try to end a conflict, it actually uses it as a chance to build a real connection.
And that's really the big question, isn't it? At work, with our families, pretty much everywhere, it feels like being aggressive is how you win. You gotta stand your ground, you gotta win the argument. But is that really winning? Let's dive into a much more skillful way to handle things.
So first things first, we need to understand the world we're all operating in. Our default setting for pretty much everyone is to react. But there's a totally different approach out there, and it's inspired by the Bodhisattva path, this powerful vow to ease suffering, not just for ourselves, but for everyone. I mean, we're taught this stuff almost from the moment we're born. The world rewards the person who fights the hardest. But the alternative isn't about being weak or just backing down. It's an active, and believe me, a courageous skill.
Okay, this is where we get to the absolute heart of the matter, a mental shift that can literally change the entire dynamic of a conflict. It all comes down to how we choose to see what's happening.
This one idea, this can be so incredibly freeing. The second you stop seeing someone's harsh words as an attack on you, you're not trapped by that need to get defensive anymore. And that opens up a whole new world of possible responses, ones that come from a place of real stability, not just knee-jerk reaction.
Just look at the difference between these two questions. The reactive mind immediately jumps to, why are they doing this to me? See how it's all about personal injury? But the compassionate mind asks something else entirely. What is causing them so much suffering? It shifts the focus from the effect on you to the cause in them. This is such a brilliant way to put it. Think about it. You wouldn't get mad at someone for coughing, right? You'd see it as a sign that they're sick. Well, this reframes verbal attacks in the exact same way. It's not really an attack, it's a symptom of some inner pain. It's basically a cry for help.
And when you start seeing things this way, you can use some really skillful tools, like validation. Now, this is super important. You are not agreeing with what they're doing or saying it's okay. You're simply acknowledging the emotion that's driving their words. Just doing that, saying something like, "I can hear how much stress you are under," can instantly de-escalate a tense situation and open a path for actual communication.
So, seeing the suffering behind the attack, that's the big insight. But how in the world do you actually do that, especially when you're up against some really difficult or even hateful ideas? Well, that's where skillful action comes into play.
Now, the Bodhisattva's path isn't about being a silent bystander. That's just being complicit, letting harm happen. But on the other hand, jumping into a big argument almost never changes anyone's mind. It just turns into a battle of egos. There's a third way.
Instead of just going on the attack, this approach uses something called skillful means. It's a method designed not to win the argument, but to plant a little seed of doubt, to create a small crack in their certainty so they might, just might, start to reflect on their own views.
Just think about the difference here. The first one, that's transphobic. Boom, it puts them on the defensive immediately. The walls go up. But the question, can you tell me more about why you feel that way? That changes the entire dynamic. It's an invitation for them to look at their own beliefs, which is so much more powerful than you just trying to force-feed them yours. Okay, but this brings up a huge question, one you're probably already thinking. What about our anger? Because hearing injustice should make us angry. Well, this practice isn't about getting rid of anger. It's about transforming it.
Let's be super clear about this. This is not about becoming some kind of emotionless robot. Anger is a totally natural physical response to injustice. The goal isn't to pretend you don't feel it. The goal is to work with that energy so it doesn't hijack you and just create more conflict.
The very first step, like with so many things, is just awareness. Before you can transform anger, you have to actually know what it feels like in your body. Think about the last time you got really mad. Where did you feel it? Was it that heat rising in your chest? Did you clench your jaw? Just noticing these physical signs is the first step to getting a handle on it.
So once you're aware of that physical tension, you can start to actively work with it. And these aren't just little symbolic tricks, they're actual physiological things you can do. Taking a slow, deep breath tells your nervous system that you're okay. Consciously relaxing your jaw and softening your eyes releases your body's fight mode. This actually transforms the raw energy of anger into a grounded, stable presence. And from that place, you can act with strength, not just aggression. All right, let's pull all of this together and maybe redefine what it even means to be strong in a world that is so often just full of conflict. You see, this path isn't for someone who's passive and just hopes for the best. It's for a skilled practitioner, someone who can actively reduce suffering, both in the person saying harmful things and for the community that's being harmed by them. And that takes an incredible amount of courage.
So at the end of the day, what this whole framework gives us is a real, practical alternative to our default setting of attack and defend. It's a practice you can actually learn and use, and it can change not just your relationships with other people, but your own inner world too.
And that really leaves us with one final thought, a challenge really, to take this wisdom and apply it in your own life. What conversation, what relationship, what internal battle could you transform just by shifting your perspective from seeing an attack to seeing suffering?